So I just started it. Yeah. It was, and yeah, a little bit of a frustrating time lately, but that's okay. It'll work out. God's challenging me in ways that I hadn't anticipated. Like mode. So welcome everybody. Sorry, she's all over you. Oh, she'll do that as long as you touch her. Then she might start nipping at you because she gets very amorous, and then she's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Sorry, guys. We're talking about Artemis, who's really loving on Donna this morning. So I was reading about Eleanor Roosevelt. She's one of my favorite, historical figures. And she said, do something that you're afraid of every day. And that's one of my favorite quotes of hers. So do something you're afraid of every day. And the other quote I like about fear is, if you think about it, fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. So you can be afraid of something and then decide, well, I'm going to do it anyway. And that's very courageous. So think about that. Close your eyes. Just turn inward. It doesn't mean you need to be fearful of class today. But if you take the time to think about the foundation of yoga poses and set it up properly, then the poses don't seem as scary to get into. So slow your breath down. And encourage it to be a little fuller, a little deeper. Without forcing it. And please bring hands to heart center. May we all choose to find courage when faced with something we're scared to do, scared of. We'll feel a lot better in our own skin. We'll probably make better choices and feel the grace that's within us and around us. Please lower your hands, open your eyes. Yes. And come on into child's pose. And extend your arms out really long. Come up on fingertips. Stretch your tail back a little bit more. You can even scoop it under if you'd like. And then come on up to all fours. And just, I'm gonna play with something. I hope you can see me. So lift in all fours, you know, your hands are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. I just want you to see what happens when you lift your right knee out to the side. Now, usually with me, what happens is my left, I'm gonna mirror you, my left shoulder pops forward and my right hip pops out, or my left hip pops out. Good. So now come on down and let's try it again, but not let that happen. So I just want you to stabilize the shoulders, stabilize the hips, and then lift the knee out to the side again. And notice how you don't lift it very high, and then just kind of move it in a circle. So when you stabilize and really concentrate on it, everything else stays the same and you just feel the stretch in that hip, right? And bring it down. Stabilize again and bring the opposite knee up. Just notice, did your shoulder come forward? If it did, stabilize it. Did your hip come out? Maybe lower the knee a little bit and then move it in a circle. Try and stabilize. Ooh, I feel burn in that opposite hip. Good, and then come on down and move through some cow cats. And then just keeping your toes curled under, sit back on your heels for a moment. Check in there. You don't have to sit all the way back if it doesn't feel good. Just stretch out your feet a little bit. I don't know if this will work for you. See if you can just come up and go to deep squat. Maybe. Yeah, good. And then stand up. Okay, now Tadasana. Just kind of twist side to side and notice how your knee comes forward. Everything moves. Now we're just going to stabilize again and not allow that to happen and just allow the twist to happen from here on up. So stabilize your feet, stand really strong with your legs. Actually grab a block and bring it between your thighs. I think that'll even help you notice if you're turning. Grab the other block too, bring it between your hands. You guys are guinea pigs today because I didn't teach yesterday. So press the block, stretch your arms up, squeeze the block, and now twist to your right. And don't allow anything else to turn. Yeah, good. And now come back to center and twist to your left. Notice if things are changing and do that a couple more times. So notice. It'd be nice if you had a mirror so you could see if your hips are moving. And come back to center, squeeze the block, and now just arc to your right, but squeeze the left hip in so nothing changes. Yeah. Come back to center and arc to your left. And breathe. I'm not breathing, I noticed. Come back to center and relax. Whew, okay. Bring the blocks and just have them handy at the front of your mat. Take off a layer if you want to. I'm going to. Come on up to the front of your mat. And I'm just going to have you do tree pose. I'm going to turn this way. Tree pose with that same feeling. So you're stabilizing in the lower body. You're going to stand on your right foot and see about lifting your left knee without moving anything. Good. Now keep that. Think really strong. You're not going to turn your hips as you bring the knee out to the side. And maybe find the foot on the leg. And stretch up. Think stabilize the hip. Stabilize the shoulders. It's all about the core. Good. Now bring the foot away. Bring it back to middle. And down. Good job. Yay! Yeah, it really makes a difference. So think about that. You don't want to shift. I always find myself shifting. So if you really think about that stabilizing, it helps. So let's try the other side. We all have our special side too. So lift the knee first. Stabilize. Maybe turn it out. Maybe you're not going to be able to bring it out as far, which is totally okay. And then find the leg. Lengthen up. Weak ankle. It's really feeling weak today. Bring it forward and release. Yay, good job. Okay, now let's try chair pose like that. And we're going to do a twist in chair pose. So I'm just going to have you bend your knees, bring your hands on your knees first. And then just kind of look at your knees. They're the same distance. You don't want them to come too far forward, right? You just want to keep your hips back and really stabilize there. And then bring hands to heart center. Think long spine. Now, as you twist to your right, just notice if your left knee comes forward. Don't allow it. Think really stabilize. You don't have to bring elbow to knee unless you want to. Just think stabilize. Good. Come back to center. Reconnect. Make sure you're still the same and go the opposite way. I like to just keep looking at my knees so I can see. You may not twist as deep as you normally do, but come back to center and stand up. Yeah. Feels weird, right? And it's a lot more work, but it feels safer and you really feel the twist. Okay, let's try one more. So I'm going to have you have your blocks handy just in case you need them. And then you're going to come to chair pose, but with one leg. So stand on your right leg, bend both knees, bring your left ankle over the top, and then stabilize, and maybe bend deeper. The blocks are there in case you need to kind of grab them and say, oh, okay. Stabilize. Hands to heart center. You want to fold deeper, you can, but keep that stabilization. Don't let one hip slide out. Wow, you guys are really good today. And come on up and release. Wow, that makes a huge difference. Usually people struggle with that one. Good job. Okay, you ready for the other side? Bend both knees. And on the left foot, think really stabilize as you bring that ankle up and over. Hug in. Hands to heart center if you're feeling it. Feeling stable, hands to the blocks if you're not, or you can do this by a wall too. Maybe fold a little deeper. And come on up and unwind. Ooh, fun time. Okay, let's do a few sun salutes, but first, just have your blocks handy. Stretch your arms up, feeling that stable. Remember the blocks really supporting you, and fold forward, Uttanasana. And just take a moment there. What are your tendencies in forward fold? Can you stabilize any more there? And then go ahead and step back to a downward facing dog. Make sure your hands are at least shoulder width, your feet are at least hip width. Feel really stable in the shoulder girdle and with the hips. Now bring the feet slightly closer together. I think it feels a little better. And extend the right leg and just notice if anything changes. Did you adjust by bringing your left shoulder forward or allowing your left hip or right hip to extend out? Good. And bring that foot down and try the other side. One side sometimes is weaker than the other side, so if you just kind of notice. And bring the foot down. Okay, now come down to child's pose briefly. And get off your wrist momentarily. Break. We're gonna do that same thing again, but this time add a little bit of a hip rotation in there. So come on up to down dog. Stabilize the core a lot and the hips. I like to keep a little baby bend in my knees just because I think it feels more stable. And extend the right leg and bend the knee. Now see if you can keep everything the same and make a little circle with that knee. Stabilizing the left leg, stabilizing the shoulders, just kind of rotating the hip in the socket without moving anything else. Good. Now bring that foot forward, deep lunge. You can use the blocks there if you want to. And just feel that. Lower the back knee. Stretch up. Anjane Asana. Keeping in mind, you want to keep everything stable. So the hips are square. Maybe you can bend a little deeper and get a little more stretch in that hip flexor. But you're keeping everything stable. So I really feel my right foot drawing back, my right hip crease. Good, touch down. This is where you might want the blocks under your hands because you're gonna lift the back knee, straighten the front leg to pyramid pose. The back heel still lifted. Are you still stabilizing? Do you feel even everywhere? Your hamstrings are really tight. That's a good reason to use the block. Good job, everybody. One more breath. I'm still pulling my feet towards each other because that really reminds me to keep the hips square. Good, now bend back into the front knee. And bring your hands on your front knee and come up to crescent. Thinking stable, square, shoulders square. Now keep the base of your pose just like it is. Bring your hands to heart center. And that same twist, don't let your heel swivel, your knee change. Just use the twist right in your core. Maybe find elbow to knee or not. Good. Come on, back up. Hands to your front knee. Ground the back foot down. Come to warrior two now. Now your hips, your knee has a tendency to turn in. I want you to resist that. Keep the sits bones back. Keep everything square. Warrior two. Right. Nice, guys. Now there's no twist involved, but you can come to Parsva Konasana. So I'm going to bring elbow to the knee first. And then maybe bring the hand down to the inside just so I can feel a squaring up of the hips to the side. And maybe my arm and my knee kind of work as a unit. Beautiful, you guys. You can bring the elbow by the ear, palm facing down if you want. And come back up, warrior two. And can I keep that stability in the base and go to reverse warrior? Nothing really changes. The hips are still square to the side, the knee is still tracking straight. Good, come back up. Warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Turn the right foot in. So now you're in star pose. Now just notice as you fold forward into this wide-legged forward fold, if you can stabilize and not let anything, come forward, everything's stable. Prasarita Tadasana. And then walk your hands back towards your right foot as you turn it out. Turn the left heel up to deep lunge. Lower your back knee. Bring the right hand to the inside. Wiggle the foot out. So even in this pose, so that right knee's kind of an outlier. You can even widen the toes a little bit. Your hands are still under your shoulders. Your hips are still square. Feel that? So stabilize shoulder girdle, stabilize the hips. Maybe stretch a little deeper. I'm going to use my blocks to come down to my elbows because that feels really good to me. But I want you to just notice how you're stabilizing to keep that right hip back. And then you can always work to widen the knee. So now come up again on your blocks. Think about keeping that same, you're really square to the front. You're getting a really big stretch in your left hip flexor and your right inner thigh. See if you can bend the left knee. Yeah, and maybe that's, you know, all you want to do. Or maybe you can reach back with your right hand and find the foot and then kick it back. Oh, if it's not there, try not to lose, you know, scrunch up one side or the other, or lose the squareness of the hips. And even for this variation, keep your shoulders square. Good. Release. Lose the block so that you can square up again. And lift the back knee and step back. Down dog. Those guys are complaining here, so if you'll help. So let's even it out. So we feel all loose on one side and not the other. So extend the left leg. Remember, shoulder girdle, hips really working and square, bend the left knee. And then just see if you can rotate it in the socket without allowing anything to change. Your right shoulder doesn't come forward, your left hip doesn't, or your right hip doesn't come off to the side. Good. Stretch it and step it through. Deep lunge. Lower the back knee. I'm going to give you a minute because some of you, the step through is a really hard thing. Square up, connect, stretch up, Anjaneyasana. You feel that really both sides working, shoulder girdle working to stay connected and square. And your spine's nice and long. And touch down. You can hear Connor running around up there. Lift the back knee and go into that pyramid pose. So use the blocks if you need to. Stretch the left leg straight. Are you still stabilizing? Sometimes I feel like my right hip goes off to the side, so I have to really think, okay, left hip stays the same. I'm drawing the hip crease back and maybe drawing the feet towards each other. Feel the big toe mound pressing down. Oh, that's so good. Bend into the front knee. Keep that back leg strong so you can keep the hips square. Bring your hands to your front knee and move on up to crescent. Think of hugging the right hip in. Notice if your heel wants to swivel. Left hip crease stays back. Good, now hands to heart center. Everything on the bottom stays the same. Don't allow it to change as you twist to your left. Maybe hover the elbow for a moment just to feel that. And maybe bring the elbow down. Yeah, you may not be in as deep a twist as you're used to. It's okay. Good, unwind, hands to the front knee. Back heel swivels down, warrior two. Just notice, can you get the right hip crease back so you can feel stable, but the left knee still tracks straight. Sits bones stay back, long spine. Good, Parsvakonasana, either elbow to knee. First, I like to do that first and then see, did something change? And then maybe reach for block or the floor. Parsvakonasana. Stretch the arm by the ear. Don't allow anything to change. Palm facing down. Good. Come back up. Warrior two. These transitions, a lot of times you'll notice maybe you shifted a little bit. So reconnect, reverse warrior. Come back upright, warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Turn the left foot in. And slowly fold forward, Prasarita Padasana. Notice if you're connected to both feet, both thighs are even. Nice. Full breath. And then walking toward your left foot, turn it out, turn the back heel up, deep lunge. And step back, downward facing dog. I'm going to give you a little break, but I want you to come forward to plank and really work on keeping the shoulders strong and even move your chest forward of your hands. So when you bend your elbows, your heart is coming forward and come down to the mat. So then when you get there, your elbows are right above your wrist, hopefully. Stretch your feet long. Inhale, lift to a little low cobra. This is your first one. And lower back down. Did you remember to engage the hips when you did the cobra? The shoulders are obvious, but try it again and think, can I stabilize the hips and lengthen the spine? Keep the shoulders square. And come on down, good. Push all the way back to child's pose. And you can let your hands rest under your forehead if you like. When I told Connor he couldn't come down, I was like, well, don't they like me? I said, they love you, but yeah, it's not going to work today. Come on up to downward facing dog. And step forward, forward fold. And roll all the way up to standing. Okay, we're going to do balancing one more time. So I want you to do tree pose, but then I might throw a little something at you if we're doing okay. I might be falling over, so we'll see. So stabilize. Get nice and tall. Stand on your right foot. Lift your left knee. You can bring your hands wherever. Think stabilize as you turn the knee out and find the leg. Good. Bring your right arm up. Hover your left, the back of your left hand above your knee. Keep really strong and maybe arc towards your knee. stabilizing, come back up, stretch the arms up, and release. That arc is really hard, I think. Yeah, I think we're getting a little fatigued, so makes it doubly hard. Okay, but let's play with the other side. Let's stand on the left foot. Right knee comes up. Stabilize. Bring it out. Find it. Left arm up. Right back of hand hovers above that outstretched knee. And then if you're feeling stable, in your left hip especially, arc. And come on up. Stretch both arms up. And release. Yay! That was gorgeous. I couldn't really see you guys because I was so focused on myself, but all right. I want to try one more pose it's a challenging pose. But if you really stabilize, so it's hand to big toe. Now you can do big toe where you grab the big toe and feel that, or you can grab the little toe side of the foot. And I'll just show you where we're going. So you've just straightened the leg. And you don't have to straighten it all the way. You know, maybe your hamstrings prevent you. But if you're stabilizing your hips in, it feels really good. We're just going to do this straight forward because I want you to think of, I noticed my right hip higher than my left, so I'm going to adjust that, get taller. Okay, so play with it. Just think, are you twisting a little bit or can you stabilize and try it? So I'm going to watch you guys stand on your right foot. Bring your left knee up and then see, can you grab the little or the big toe or the little toe side of the foot? Let's see what happens. Yeah, and bring your hand to the little toe side, so on top. So cross the top to the little toe side. There, now stretch your foot down. Yeah, stabilize the hips, lengthen up. Oh, you're using the opposite hand, sorry. I need something much different. That was really good. Try and draw. Oh, you look good, Connie. Try and bring your left hip down a little bit. Stabilize the right. Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Yeah, good. Okay. I know. So the other one with that is you bring it up, you extend it, and then you bring it off to the side. And it does feel good if you're really stabilizing, but you can try that at the end if you want to in the other side. Okay, so let's try the other side. Stand on your left foot, bring the right knee up, wherever you're grabbing. And remember, you don't have to get the leg all the way straight. The trick is keeping stable. Keeping the hips square, keeping the shoulders square. And come on out. So I always think of it as like, when I'm holding this, it's like a fire hose. You're kind of, it's like there's tension there with the hand and the foot to extend it, but yet you're keeping really stable from that point. If you just have it kind of sloppily, it's never gonna feel stable. So when you have it strong and you're feeling like, oh, something shooting out of your foot, feels way better. We'll play with that another day. Come on up to the front of your mat. Take a breath. Actually, just bring hands to heart center for a moment. Close your eyes. And just notice if you do feel stable through the low body. perfectly even. Good, open your eyes, stretch your arms up. Feel really stable, like you're squeezing that block, and then fold forward. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. Step the right foot back, deep lunge. Lower the back knee. Stretch up, Anjane Asana. Noticing if anything changes. Good, touch down. Lift the back knee. Straighten the left leg, pyramid pose. Check and see the left hip still the same. Right hip is square, left hip creases back. Good, bend into the front knee. Come on up, crescent. And just for fun and kicks and giggles, bring hands to heart center. Lean forward, step the right foot back. Think, can I keep that stability and move to warrior three? So lift the back foot, hugging the left hip in, lengthening, shoulders straight, maybe extend the arms. Woo! Good, hands to heart center. Step it back, crescent warrior again. Take a moment, feel really stable, and then do that twist. Keep the hips square, twist to your left, hover the right elbow. Yes, sweetie. I love you, buddy. Come on back to center. Ground the back foot down, warrior two. You're my best friend too, buddy. Urdhva whatever variation. Feel the back foot, feel the hip square. Warrior two again. Reverse. Come on up. Straighten the front leg. Turn the left foot in. Prasarita, fold forward. As you move, shift. Just see, are your hips still staying stable? Shoulders stable. Guys. Walk your hands to the left. Turn the left foot out. Right heel's up. And then just check. I still have that. And step back. Downward facing dog. Now think of that chaturanga. So move forward to plank and then keeping that nice long spine and the hips really even. Shift your spine forward so when you come down, your elbows are right above your wrist and come to the ground. Inhale, come to cobra. Exhale, lower. Downward facing dog. Down the right leg, step it through, deep lunge. Lower the back knee. Keeping the hips square, keeping everything tight and in. Stretch up, Anjane. Good, touch down. Lift the back knee. Straighten the right leg. A lot of times I'll notice my left hip sticks out. So I want to keep things square. I want everything to be connected. And then I just feel the stretch in the hamstrings, the back of the right leg, maybe the back of the left leg too. Pyramid pose. And bend into the front knee, however you can. Stay stable and come up to crescent. Hands to heart center. Lean forward. Maybe shift that back foot forward. Think, can I really engage both sides as I stretch into warrior three? Touch the back foot down, crescent warrior. Hands to heart center. Keep the base of the pose stable. Twist. Don't let the heel twist. Don't let the knee twist. Nothing twists except for the core and above. Come on back up. Ground the back foot down. Warrior two. Just notice. We're getting fatigued, but we're almost there. Parsvakonasana. Warrior two. Hug that left hip in. Reverse warrior. Keep the hip square. Yeah. Good. Warrior two. Turn, straighten the right leg. Turn the right foot in. Check. Are your feet the same distance forward on the mat? Are the hips square? Fold forward, press hard to. Walk the hands towards your right foot as you turn it out. Turn the left heel up. Step back, down dog. And take a child's pose. Nothing to fear when you have that strong base to your pose. Fun to work on more challenging poses when you can feel that strong and stable. Come on up to all fours. And stretch your toes long this time. Press the tops of your feet down, all 10 toes actually. Can you feel all 10 toes? And then sit back on your heels. And maybe if you're really feeling it, you can use a blanket or a block to sit on too. You want to just bring them a little wider, just enough so you can sit down. If you're not all the way to the mat, use a blanket, yeah, or a block. Yeah, good. How's that feel? Okay. If you want a little more stretch, think, can I stabilize my hips and keep them square? Because we all have one side that feels different than the other. So just notice that. Keep the shoulders square. Maybe you can shift back to your elbows. Just notice. So I notice my right hip wants to pop up. So I have to really work on that. And then it feels even and good. If I can keep that, maybe I can go back even further. Get that quad stretch. Keep working that right hip in, Lisa. You guys go wherever it feels good. You don't have to go all the way down, but you're doing good. And then come on up and slowly come forward. Curl your toes under for a moment. See if they still, your ankles still work. That's always the big thing with me, is my ankles are really tight. Too many sprains when I was younger. And then adjust so you can come up to down dog. And one more time, come forward and think, I'm going to keep everything stable, both hips, shoulders, and then move forward to come down to the mat. Good. Stretch your feet straight, bend your knees. Now, here's the deal. A lot of times you want to scoop your tailbone to get into this pose. I don't want you to. I want you to think long spine. Keep the sits bones back, but draw the low belly up and the rib cage back. And then reach back, see if you can find your feet. You might have to roll side to side a little bit to find them. Oh, nice. Almost got it. Good. Make sure your knees and your hips are really engaged and keep them square, shoulders square, and then kick back. Let's see about coming into the full pose. And release down. Ooh, that one. This works everything, doesn't it? And it feels so much better when you think about stabilizing the hips and the shoulders and keeping everything square. Hands by your chest. Push back to all fours and then transition. So shift your feet to one side or the other so you can sit down and extend your legs. I'm going to encourage you to keep your knees bent for now and think, okay, stabilize, hips square, shoulders square. I'm always, a lot of us have little twists in our spine that we don't even know about. When you really start to notice, you find them. Bring the hands down. Keep that. You can slowly fold forward. Press your heels down to this Paschimottanasana position. But just notice what happens. So the hip creases stay even. You just stretch your spine long. It's like you're stretching your chest maybe to your upper thigh. And then if that still feels good and you don't lose anything, keep pressing into your heels, straighten the legs. Paschimottanasana. And then come on up. Oh, that feels good. Bend your knees all the way again. Slowly lean back. Keep that nice long spine. Extend your legs. Navasana. Now keep the long spine. Keep the shoulders square. Keep the hips moving in. As you slowly lower your feet and legs, you're going to round your upper back and slowly roll down. So this is called Ardha Navasana, and then just keep going and come down to your back. Oh, does that feel good? I'm going to turn that lights down a bit. Just enjoy that position for a moment. Turn these off. And then just hug your knees in. Supta Balasana. And then just hold on to your right knee. Extend your left leg all the way to the floor. You'll feel a curve come back in your low back. So you might have to let your right knee come away from you because you want to keep your hips square, right? And then let go of your knee. Bring your arms to cactus. Bring the right foot on top of your left thigh. And then just roll to your left hip, but keep your right shoulder down. Let the knee come across. Keep thinking the right hip is right above the left hip. It's not coming towards me. It's not moving away from me. So that hips still stay square, if you will. And then come on back to center. Hug both knees in again. And then just holding the left knee this time. Extend the right leg. Make sure your hips are square. You're engaging the core, lengthening. Bring the arms to cactus. Bring the left foot on top of the right thigh and roll to the right hip. My knee doesn't come all the way down. Yours might. But when I'm keeping everything active on the sides of the hips and in the legs, it doesn't happen that way. And then unwind. Bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees open. Maybe hands on belly. That feels right. And go ahead and stretch out for Shavasana, well-deserved Shavasana. When you get relaxed, just take your time really scanning and relaxing. And then ask yourself, what could I do today that scares me a little bit, but that I know will be life enhancing if I do follow through? And if it's just calling a friend you haven't talked to for a long time. Having a difficult discussion with someone that you've been meaning to have. Notice if you relax your jaw. Your shoulders, your outer hips. When we were born, we were programmed perfectly. We had a natural tendency to focus on love. Our imaginations were creative and flourishing, and we knew how to use them. We were connected to a world much richer than the one we connect to now. A world full of enchantment and the sense of the miraculous. So what happened? Why is it that we reached a certain age, looking around, and the enchantment was gone? Because we were taught to focus elsewhere. We were taught to think unnaturally. We were taught a very bad philosophy, a way of looking at the world that contradicts who we are. We were taught that we were separate from other people, that we have to compete to get ahead, that we're not quite good enough the way we are. We were taught to see the world the way others had come to see it. It's as though as soon as we got here, we were given a sleeping pill. The thinking of the world, which is not based on love, began pounding in our ears. Love is what we were born with. Fear is what we have learned here. The spiritual journey is the relinquishment or unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. Love is the essential existential fact. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning and the purpose of our lives. It's courageous. It's a choice. And again, to move in small ways. Please draw your knees in when you're ready. Just take your time coming on up to seated. If all those body parts still move again. Please bring in the heart center. Thank you so much for playing today. Bow to that love in each of you. Namaste. Thank you guys. Yeah. Good. So just a reminder, next week I'm gone and sorry. I was gonna try and do Zoom down there, but I just have too much stuff to drag, so I think I'll not do it. Maybe next time. And if you like to come Fridays, no class this Friday or next Friday. So, all right. Thanks, you guys. Oh, thanks. Thanks. You can practice it at home. Actually,